back to the Gooner Fanzine TV podcast, the Christmas edition where Glen and Jake didn't get the memo.
I got the memo.
I forgot to go shopping before I came.
We just nip that in the bud. I do not wear Christmas jacket.
Already he's back in his grumpy natural habitat.
The grump has returned.
On today's panel we have Jake Coare, down the man Mountney, Glen, Serge and Layth, who has unfortunately got to shoot off. Where have you got to go at the beer break?
Yeah, the beer break, we've got to go to the Football Supporters Association Awards at Tower Hill. The Gooner Fanzine's been shortlisted for Best Fanzine in the UK, so we've got a chance basically, but it's massively prestigious. So yeah, we can drink as much as we can and talk as much as we can, and I've got to shoot off. So yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
So let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Up the Gooner.
So it's been an up and down week. Obviously we started on Monday with a West Ham victory.
Where's the up?
Yeah.
West Ham
Ham.
It's mental anyway.
He just forgets everything positive in the
Yeah,
world.
he does. Doesn't he? Seriously.
Well, 9 minutes. Yeah.
Best 9 minutes of the season it was.
Okay, carry on.
Started with a great Monday, then we went to Liege and
It was a
no,
great
got
week.
drunk for 2 days.
Yeah,
pretty much.
away trip, and then obviously really disappointing Sunday. Yeah. Dan, do you think Mikel Arteta, looking at this club, does he want to manage this team?
I think he wants to, but I personally don't want him.
Okay.
I described him earlier to someone, and no disrespect to him or to the person I'm going to compare him to. I described him as Freddie Ljungberg with hair, because basically.
Says a man wearing a Christmas hat.
At least he got.
What are you wearing?
I think it's some sort of panda.
Basically.
No, it's a polar bear. It's not a panda. At all,
You look like a polar bear. Basically, I don't see a difference between the two of them. So the complaints with Ljungberg has been, he's not got enough experience. Well, he's literally got the same amount of experience as Arteta. And yes, he knows the club like Ljungberg does, but I don't see the difference personally.
Do you
I think they need to go with someone with more experience.
Serge, you value the fact that he's worked under Pep Guardiola.
Of course, that's an important thing to look at, but he hasn't actually taken the helm of the team himself.
Yep.
And that's the thing, a massively important thing. I think that's what Freddie's struggling with at the moment, is dealing with the sort of the bigger heads in the ground, like dealing with your Ozils, dealing with your Aubameyangs. He's struggling with. I think Arteta, even though he's worked under Pep, which I have excellent results with, but he hasn't done it himself. So I think he needs to go away, have some time like Frank Lampard did under Derby before he can take over the Premier League team.
Especially a team in this sort of situation. I mean, it's not where you want to start with your career, really, is it?
No, you don't want to start your career with a broken cup. You want to start it with something full. So.
And in a way, he's almost got less experience than Ljungberg, because Ljungberg was the number one for the academy, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a way, he's more
But,
than number one.
Academy football's not the same as Premier League
No,
football.
exactly, but.
Can I just say about this Guardiola thing? I think it's complete and utter nonsense. Because working at not Guardiola himself. I rate Guardiola so highly, as everyone does.
Says a man wearing a Christmas
What?
Anyway, back to my point. If I was rudely interrupted. You can work under someone, but you're not necessarily going to do it yourself. You look at Steve McLaren. He worked under Sir Alex Ferguson and then became known as the Wally with the Brolly. Like, it doesn't necessarily translate to being a good manager yourself, does it? So
yeah. Can I just say as well, I was actually on TalkSport this afternoon, funny enough.
That's 5 minutes.
hang on,
Exactly.
you missed a key part. TalkSport 2.
TalkSport 2, a very up and coming channel, I should say. Jake Watson's a really, really good guy as well. So if you're watching it, it's brilliant. Make sure you watch it. It's really good, and listen to it obviously as well. But the question was basically, did I think Arteta had enough experience to manage a club like Arsenal? And well, basically, I interviewed him one-on-one at London Colney a couple of years ago for the Gooner Fanzine, funny enough, and I thought he was a really principled, deep thinker, very articulate, progressive coach, basically. In terms of experience, obviously Unai Emery won the Europa League 3 times in a row with Sevilla, but that Watford game, we interviewed Lee Dixon early in the season, and he was absolutely scathing about that display at Watford. And he basically said, the defence wasn't good enough. He listed so many reasons why the midfield didn't help out. It was just a really dismal performance. And he said the man watching from the touchline couldn't affect that performance. Mm-hmm. And this is a man who's won 3 Europa League. So do you need experience? I don't know. You just need talent, basically. And I think Arteta's got that in spades. And hopefully, having interviewed him and having known what he's like and watched him play 149 games for Arsenal in 5 years, I think he's a man for the job. He's got to be.
Glenn's had his hand up.
Yeah, well, I would just like to say, having listened to loads of Layth's interviews, Arteta. But as you know, sort of on here, I've been advocating Arteta. You talk about sort of managerial experience. The more and more I read about him, the more you hear about how he's masterminded certain victories in big games. Apparently, it's sort of like when City did us a couple of years ago. he told Guardiola exactly how they should set up, exactly how they should play. And I see it a bit as, do you remember the Cloughy Peter Taylor regime?
Yeah.
Where Clough was ostensibly the manager, but Peter Taylor did a lot of the donkey work, a lot of the planning. I mean, Clough would just go off and let Taylor, sort of manage the players, coach the players for a particular game. And that. So, having said all that,
arguably Clough was never the same man after Taylor left as well.
Yeah,
so you're right. Yeah.
But having said all that, as I have been advocating Arteta, after yesterday and seeing the absolute sort of like malaise that this club is in, I'd be worried about him going into what I see now as a complete furnace. And I think it might, it could send his career on an immediate downward trajectory. So, being a new man coming in, and it might be too much for him to handle. So at the moment, I'm just lost for words as to who we should get. I really don't know.
It's got to be someone with clear ideas, hasn't it? It's got to be someone with an established track record.
You're asking him to do. I think he's going to be taking on a heck of a lot. Well, we all know, we're sort of like preaching to the converted.
I mean, I completely agree with what you're saying, but you've got to say someone. You can't just go, it's not going to happen, or he's not. You'll be crushed by it, or Freddie's got to carry on, or whatever. Who would you have? Come on, stop sitting on the fence.
Well, in an ideal world, maybe we should have had Arteta when we appointed Emery, sort of like a more positive sort of start, bringing in his own players and his own staff. Now, I think it's a firefighting exercise. I'm not suggesting this by any means, but we are closer to a dogfight to getting out of a relegation battle than we are getting into that top four. And so I think.
You're absolutely right, mate, but you still haven't answered the question.
I haven't answered the question. No, I wouldn't. I don't want to suggest your Allardyces and your whatevers, but I don't know. Maybe Ancelotti.
Well, he's going to Everton.
He's just gone to Everton for me.
Oh, right, I didn't know that. Sorry, I haven't got a smartphone. So.
How's that going anyway?
You're still waiting for the morning papers.
Christmas, then, no?
Oh, Christmas morning, Santa might be there.
10k subscribers. Glenn's going to get a smartphone. Smash that subscribe button.
Can I just say, you mentioned obviously, Arteta was really in the frame back in May 2018. Obviously, didn't get the job when he thought he was going to. What's changed now? Why suddenly go back to him now?
Because I think they see Spurs. They saw what Pochettino did
and got rid of him.
Well, after 5 years, I mean, we can argue about whatever success they had. I don't think they had any. But, they're desperate to get Pochettino. I think they see in Arteta, a similar mould, similar kind of age.
So we're not going to win a trophy for 5 years. Fantastic.
Well, you can chip away. I don't know. It's not.
We'll get an Amazon Prime documentary soon.
We are not about winning trophies at the moment, mate. It is dire. And
it's about staying up, isn't it?
That club is rotten. The club is rotten to the core.
Go ahead, Joe.
Because the thing is with Arteta is that you say comparing him to Guardiola and Zidane, they both managed the academy teams at Barcelona and Madrid before they took over their respective roles at Barcelona and Madrid. I would look at someone like Patrick Vieira, who knows the club, a tough leader, and who's been trusted with the Man City group because he managed their New York team. Yeah. Was the academy director until he took that job and has been doing a good job in France.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. I mean, as I was saying on Talksport earlier, you might have known I was on there.
You have to stop plugging.
I don't know if I mentioned it.
When are you going? When are you leaving?
Apparently we're in a rush because he's got to go off to another dude. He's talking about his Talksport appearances.
But my point was basically, to be in all seriousness, it's a real shame that Arsenal lost former players of the calibre of Vieira and maybe Keown and didn't bring Adams into the fold.
Was that?
Exactly, yeah. I did say that. I did say it was Wenger towards the end. It was reluctant to bring big name former players back into the fold.
This has not happened overnight.
It's been a malaise for a long time.
Adams didn't really have a good one as a manager, though, did he? Really, it's really successful spell in Spain, which turned out so well.
Well, no, actually, it did because what happened was he told the owners they need to change their formation and bring more Spanish-speaking ownership into the club, which they did do, and then they were top of the La Liga earlier this season and beat Barcelona 2-1.
So basically, Tony Adams is a mastermind, is what you're saying.
He's a mastermind in structure, just a bad coach. But in structure, he told them to restructure the club, make it more Spanish, more Spanish-speaking people, and it worked.
That really good point you made in the match reaction was that to get some former players in, particularly
this is what I wanted to add. I didn't mention this on Sunday.
Says a man in a Christmas hat.
You've got to stop.
I'm sick of you.
What's the jumper anyway?
It's tinsel, obviously. What's Serge's jumper? Where's these two? So don't start slagging me off.
At least this one's black, very appropriate colour.
This is frankly harassing.
No, what? Says a man in a Christmas hat.
What I did want to mention was, you talk about former players and people that have been linked to possibly joining Arsenal as coaches. Gilberto Silva was there on Sunday. As was, I'm not sure many people were aware of this, Robert Pires was there as well. I saw him in the press room.
He always flits around.
He's obviously been around the club a lot, but he has been one of the people talked about. I think getting the former players in would be a good idea.
But we're just spinning names around now.
Do you think somewhere down the road,
because the board are not prepared for this?
No.
Good question. Blimey. I mean,
Who's that?
purely in terms of football achievements, I mean, he did all right at Maxfield keeping them up, but...
Did he struggle with his last job at...
was it no,
Who's this?
Didn't he leave after that?
Who's this? Sol Campbell?
Yeah, because where was he?
Is
He's
it
obviously at
Southend
now.
United now? Yeah.
Where was he before Southend?
Macclesfield.
It was Macclesfield.
I watched one of his first games as Macclesfield manager.
Yeah, you interviewed him, didn't you?
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
He wrote the
Really
forward
close.
for my book a while back, and I sort of interviewed him a few
Another
times.
player.
But you've interviewed him more recently.
Yeah, the thing with Sol Campbell is obviously interviews are different to giving team talks, but to me he doesn't come across as someone who's necessarily a very confident speaker. When I spoke to him, it was kind of short answers, stumbled a little bit. That's not. Obviously, as I say, it can be different in the dressing room, but it doesn't really strike me as the kind of person who give inspiring team talks and who possibly communicate his instructions as well as he could. Obviously, keeping Macclesfield up was a massive achievement, but he's still really cutting his teeth at the moment. And we talk about Arsenal being a massive job; he's definitely not ready for that.
Yeah, I must admit. I mean, I found Sol to be quite left field. So if you're just a bang average player, I don't know if you'll get the message he's trying to say. He's quite a creative thinker, but I don't know if that would be interpreted the way he wants it to be.
Of course,
sort of interpreted as a manager, basically. But he's a very interesting guy. So.
Before we move on completely from Freddie, the current manager, I mean, he's obviously, I think he's really John Strauchel with this.
Yeah.
He's got absolutely no hope.
And he's been calling the last few weeks for more staff. He's literally just got Per Mertesacker to help him out with
what more do you need?
in the dugout.
He said yesterday,
Gooner Fanzine TV.
he said yesterday a decision's got to be made either way.
Yeah.
It's just the way I knew this would go with this club. No pre-planning, no forward thinking, no.
It's just completely
structure,
unforgivable that they
just-
didn't have a replacement ready for Emery.
Wandering around in the dark.
To be fair,
dithering.
Well,
do you remember the 6th of October? Or the podcast
Bournemouth
after the
game.
Monday and the Bournemouth game.
Yeah.
And Glen, I was going, we're third, there's still a lot of work to do, but, we're doing all right. And you were like, no, if they don't watch it, they're going to be sucked into relegation.
Mystic Glen.
Mystic Glen.
Exactly. Honestly, yeah. So hands up there, mate, seriously.
That's the zoom in. We just
Have you seen who's put his name in a hat though?
Who, Glen?
Big Sam's put his big name in the hat.
Honestly, if,
Don't.
being
We're not
funny,
even talking
if
about
he was
this.
Arsenal manager, I would just go. I'd stay down the pub. I'd go to North London. I'd have a drink before a game. I would not go to
But
the
did you hear
if
his-
Sam Allardyce was
Did you
appointed
hear his
Arsenal
quote?
manager. No way.
Did you hear his quote?
Say the news
Please
agent-
read it.
Honestly.
news
Please read the
agents
quote.
sell a lot
Hang
of
on.
chewing gum in the.
Please read the quote.
His quote is, I could come and work on Arsenal defence and make them better tomorrow. Not a problem whatsoever.
I heard that.
I've done it everywhere I've been. Newcastle, Blackburn, Bolton, West Ham, Crystal
Oh,
Palace.
big names there.
I've done it all
It's
there.
all nonsense. It's all nonsense from the Sam Allardyce nonsense factory. I was going to swear then. I was really trying not to. He made out that Bolton had this hex over Arsenal. You look at the stats. They beat us about 4 times, had about 15, 16 games. It's nonsense. Sam Allardyce is the Antichrist as far as I'm concerned. Nowhere near Arsenal.
He did a good job at England.
All right.
Yeah. I'm not going to go there with libel or anything like that. But no, not for me. Not for me.
I feel-
in any way, shape or form. I'll tell you what. I'd rather have Mourinho at Arsenal than Sam Allardyce, and that's how much
All
I
right,
hate him.
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we have this
We've got the
discussion
point,
each
right.
week, but who do we all want realistically?
Well,
Arteta, I'd have Arteta. Why
Okay.
not? Why not? We've gone down the route of an experienced
I'd
continental manager. That failed. Let's have
All right.
someone
So
who knows
what?
Arsenal.
So right, a name up into the hat in a piece of road today would give kind of everything that Arsenal need at the moment. Knows the Premier League, has got experience as a manager, is promising and has still got his best years ahead of him. Eddie Howe. I know you're a big
Yeah,
fan
I love
of
Eddie
his.
Howe, yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it'd be difficult to prize him away from Bournemouth, but I think he gives you both sides of it. You
Yeah.
get the experience, you get the Premier League knowledge, but you get someone who is still an up-and-coming manager, and
Absolutely.
who, for me, is done absolute wonders in the game,
Actually,
more than
yeah.
most. To get Bournemouth from League Two and the edge of bankruptcy to the Premier League in 7 years and establish them on the budget he's got is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I want a young, progressive coach because we've had a continental manager who's supposedly hot on detail and organisational skills and pressing and all that sort of. And it was nonsense. It was absolutely the emperor's new clothes. Didn't do anything for us, and this is one of the reasons. Just one of the reasons I hate to add. There's a lot of other reasons, but this is one of the reasons why we are where we are now. Because the manager we had after Wenger wasn't good enough, basically. So why not go for a progressive young coach? What's the worst that could happen?
Well, has Eddie Howe
Apart from getting
Relegated,
but,
yeah.
Has Eddie Howe got any experience of dealing with the sort of flaky,
That's why, yeah, I'm
fractious,
not keen on it either.
Yeah.
super egos,
Yeah, but who
prima donnas?
who really had? Someone like Ancelotti
Well, that's
could
what I was-
he
well,
could have
he's
been
got now,
yeah, but he
got
could have
it.
been the for me he should have been the man potentially taken over after Wenger, basically.
Well, that's
Instead of
what I
Wenger.
said.
Steady hand on the
Steady
tiller,
ship.
experience.
Steady
ship.
He's a real sardonic sort of worldly
You
wise
You
man.
literally said you want a young progressive
No,
manager. and now you want
after
Ancelotti.
Wenger, I
listen,
said.
he said after
Okay,
Wenger.
all right.
Take your Santa hat off and open your ears.
I agree
For
with
me-
you there.
for
We
me-
said that as well. Sorry.
For me, it's just like I think Arsenal should just promise Brendan Rodgers the world and just beg
After,
him.
after
basically.
signing a 5.5-year deal 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but it's just
money talks, doesn't it?
It's clever from Leicester, that is.
Yeah,
To
absolutely,
get
yeah.
as much money as
They're a
possible.
clever club.
he's
at
got
the moment.
literally the second best job in the league after Liverpool, and it's so he wouldn't leave. But they
Yeah,
should
but
have
would
looked
you
at it.
realistically? We're putting all these names in the hat, but would you look at the board and the way things are run at Arsenal?
Yeah.
Would you? Well, I don't want. Would you want that realistically? I don't think anyone would.
The board have had 20 years, give or take, not having to do anything. You know, it's all been tickety-boo, sailing along.
yeah.
You know, we'll milk the fans for the increased season ticket prices, blah-de-blah. Now, they've got to do something, and they are floundering badly.
Well,
They
how
really are.
Yeah.
how
Really agree.
ridiculous? Almost
agree.
swore there. How ridiculous was it that they got photographed outside Arteta's house at 1 a.m. this morning?
They should have known, shouldn't they?
How many clubs go around negotiating like that, just going to people's house or whatever? They never get caught.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the
Yeah.
phone call?
Why did they have to go? My question
yeah.
is, why did they have to go to his house in Manchester when he was in London hours
Yeah.
previous?
From a journalist point of view, I thought that was really clever from the photographers or the news editor
Of course, yeah.
who sent the photographers down there, because why wouldn't you go down
But you
there?
shouldn't get
from
caught.
a fan's
You
point of view, you
shouldn't get
shouldn't get
caught.
caught, and you shouldn't be doing that, basically. It just smacks of
Did you see
amateurism,
Arteta's
which is
face?
part of the board at the moment, isn't
Exactly.
it, really? Seriously.
You
It's
see
ridiculous.
Arteta's face at the game yesterday? It almost looked like he couldn't believe what he was watching. There were times the camera went on him, and I'm sure, you know, I'm just imposing my own thoughts onto what he looked like, but he must have been thinking, Christ, he's got to do a massive job when I come in here.
I think we were all
It's just-
thinking that.
yeah.
I mean, Jake, you're talking about Sunday's game. I mean, what were you thinking watching that?
I was actually thinking at half time, should I go walk the dog? And I actually did.
Is your dog a gooner as well, Jay?
There's about 10,000 other people said that at half time.
Is that what Ozil was thinking as well? He kicked his
I
gloves.
live in a divided house between I'm an Arsenal and Nan's a Liverpool fan, so it's quite divided.
What's your dog called?
Rolo.
Rolo, good name. Right. What is
That's
it?
what we call Layth when we put him on the league.
But yeah, so basically when the third
That's
goal,
all right, mate.
when the third goal went, I went, we're going for a walk, and he went. I mean, he even got bored of listening to me swear at the TV.
What did you think of Ozil chucking his gloves?
Oh mate, oh.
Were you
Is that
ready
it?
for that, Glenn?
Go on,
Go on,
Glenn.
go on.
Ozil
It's
fan,
in
number
with it,
one.
it's in with
Come
it.
on.
Ozil chucked his gloves.
He
I'll
volleyed
tell you
him.
what, he wasn't the worst
Petulance.
player.
Yes, that's what- yeah.
Bamiyang should have gone off yesterday. He was dreadful.
Don't
He was
avoid.
a
Are you
villain.
turning a politician? Don't want to question. What did you think
And
of
our new
Ozil's
Prime
petulance?
Minister
'Cause that
is.
was almost on par with Sanchez at Swansea a couple of
He
years
did
ago.
slope off, yeah. I mean,
And it was
you
almost
know,
a Granit Xhaka situation when we took.
I thought that's what
ages.
was going to happen.
we thought it was
Yeah,
gonna turn
honestly,
into
yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
I know. Well, you know, I don't know. Yeah, he chucked his gloves. Was that frustration with himself? I don't know. He didn't storm off down the tunnel, did he? I'll tell you, Ozil did a massive favour to a lot of people yesterday, Arsenal fans, by coming out with his statement on Twitter, which our board immediately dissociated themselves from.
It was, yeah.
He spared a lot of Gooners in China the indignity of having to sit with him.
I don't think we should say that.
You know what? I almost thought for a second there Glenn was going to make a serious point. No.
He's serious.
And we're going to
He
get banned in
doesn't
China.
Yeah, actually, we've just been banned in China. As
Yeah,
Jake
I know, they
said.
shot all Spurs instead, didn't
Yeah,
they? Whatever,
yeah, on a
so,
delayed fee.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they've also closed off all of Ozil's social media feeds in China.
Have they?
His
Really?
Weibo account is
Yeah.
closed, his supporters account is closed, everything.
Yeah, it's a good point. But I think he's got, what, 24 million followers on Twitter or something?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Just on a really serious note, without going too much detail though, what do we think about footballers using their platform to talk about non-football issues? Because
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
from my point of view, I thought what Bellerin did on Generation Day, being a left of centre, you know, sort of voter, I thought that was fair enough.
Why
but then
not?
Arsenal basically just said, okay, well, we don't talk politics.
Well, the
and
entire-
they basically had to go at Ozil for what he did. And is that right? Is that consistent?
I think it's right that the club
Well,
do
I think it's
that,
the club
but
did, yeah.
from our
Bit
point of
Richard-
view,
So was Ozil right in doing what he did then?
Well, I think
Yeah,
it's a
what he did.
humanitarian
Yeah,
thing.
right.
He believed
Yeah,
in,
I'll tell you
I mean,
what.
I'm just interested. Yeah.
I have known about the plight of the Wiggins. A lot of people don't. He's brought that to the forefront of political debate.
Yeah.
The United
About time.
Nations agree with him, and a lot of other human rights activists do, groups. And, you know, yeah, fair on him. I mean,
So-
we had the most shoddy, disgusting election conducted on social media.
Yeah, we won't go into too much detail about that.
No.
To flip it over then, obviously we've all got our politics and all the rest of it, but if someone was quite right-wing and tweeted and used their platform to do that, is that acceptable?
that you liked.
Of course it is. If they want to talk, they want to
So
talk.
if someone
If there
supported,
is
say, Tommy Robinson, it wouldn't be alright to tweet Tommy
because-
Robinson?
No, because that's
I'm
not.
I'm just interested because
I'm sorry.
Are there degrees of free speech, or is
Well,
it free speech for everyone?
it's
I'm just
either-
interested
it's
because
either all-
I've had
it's
this
all-
conversation
it's
with,
all or nothing.
in newsrooms basically. Is it all or
It's
nothing or
Well,
it's
I
not?
think basically it's
nothing.
who I agree with and don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it is.
It's got to be
I think you're
all
right,
or nothing. You've
yeah.
got to say what you believe, as long as it doesn't affect the club and you keep your views separate from
Yeah.
the club.
And it's completely up to them if they're
But
willing
that-
to take on the backlash. I
But
mean,
but the thing is, for me, it was obviously it's the Cronkies who were telling Arsenal to do that because they had interest in China. So when
Share
Bellerin can go,
sales.
when Bellerin can say, you know, oh, folk Labour, you know, whatever, Boris, basically, that's not costing Arsenal any money. But as soon as it costs Arsenal money, the Cronkies clamp down on it. That can't be right, surely.
The social media output from players is always pathetic. I mean, look at Johnny Lescott when he tweeted out the picture of the Mercedes. Everyone's slated
Did
him
he said he tweeted it from his pocket
By
or something?
accident.
By
Yeah.
I just have to select this photo of a car and type the message and then hit
Type the
send
message.
over my pocket. Yeah, no, I don't think no.
I love the idea that he just goes on Google Images, just screenshots cars all day.
Can I just
In his
say?
pocket.
Can I just say on this social media thing? I think footballers definitely have the right. Everyone's allowed to speak their opinions on Twitter, so why can't footballers? And also, if a footballer's going to give an opinion, say Mesut Ozil as an example, who's got 24 million followers or whatever, people are going to stand up and pay attention. If just some random bloke's tweeting it and it's the same thing, no one's going to pay attention.
I
But he's
like-
bringing something forward that's important
I
to
like
deal
that he
with.
cares. I
Yeah.
like that he cares, and he's obviously an intelligent man.
Shame he doesn't care on the pitch, but anyway.
Well, I mean, to play the flip side of that, play devil's advocate, basically, would you not say, well, just keep your head down and just play well on the pitch, and then, you know, if we're top of the league, you can do what you want?
Yeah.
Rather
We'll
than
be
doing-
waiting a while.
Well, yeah.
I don't think his performance on Sunday helped his cause because that was everyone's social media joke
Well,
that
yeah,
night.
yeah.
Well, we're top of the championship soon.
But again, it
Oh,
all comes
stop.
At least I went FR2.
But will we be? We're probably like mid-table or something.
No.
Just aiming for the
We're
playoffs.
gonna do a Leeds.
We'll get the good old days of Arsenal Leeds.
Oh,
Things don't
my
get promoted, we'll get relegated.
It's a litany of dreadful performances, and yet again they single out Ozil. You watched Match of the Day 2 last night.
I mean, he was dreadful.
One of the pundits in there, I've
Lehman.
forgotten his name, but he was sticking up for Ozil.
Who?
Was it Lehman? Didn't Lehman
Who?
say something? Not on
One of
Match
the
of the Day
pundits on
2,
Match
but
of the Day
I know, I'm just asking who Lehman is.
That's what I was thinking.
Lehman, Jens Lehman.
Jens Lehman.
Oh, like Lehman then.
Stupid Christmas jumper.
To be fair, I had no idea you were talking about either.
Thank you.
Lehman, Jens Lehman. I watched most of his games.
Who's that Napoli centre back you really like?
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly.
He's done it well.
Mind you, I did
Don't
like,
take me
our
6
I
months.
did like one of our other goalies, David Stainley.
All right, we are back from the beer break. I believe Glenn has a secret Santa gift to give Layth.
Yeah, very quickly, can I just say we've got a very special sort of like Gooner Fanzine TV exclusive. The new James Bond has been kept strictly under wraps, but here we have him. But,
James Bond goes XL.
0014, he's twice the man James Bond.
0014.
I wasn't going to mention it, but I'll just leave it.
secondly, I didn't realise it was fancy dress tonight,
I
Layth.
this on a Monday night, to be fair.
But very quickly, we did Secret Santa.
Yeah, carry on. I got these a lot.
Secret Santa, I got Layth. Okay, I had a brilliant idea. I've been carrying it around with me for ages. It was all Frankfurt related. I was going to get you some bratwurst from Aldi.
That's good.
No!
Right.
Oh, no! Bratwurst.
I went to Aldi. Look,
Oh,
in here,
you got me there,
I've
mate.
even got the mustard. I've got the mustard. And, I've got an onion. Okay, but I got to Aldi today, and the bratwurst weren't there. And I said, "Where's the bratwurst?" And
Amazing.
They said, "We're taking it off the shelves because of the Christmas produce, but it'll be back in January." So sorry about
Did
that.
you get like
mate.
3 tons of sauce?
The only thing I could think of, the only other thing I could think of that in Frankfurt or on the way was it was
God, what's he got?
it was just what was it? I've got it here.
Imagine
It's
bearing in
basically
mind
it.
Frankfurt was
Oh look,
September.
there's the mustard.
I've just seen what this is.
But the only other thing I saw you eat was a steak slice.
Oh, mate, thank you.
Do you want the mustard?
Means
Go
so
with
much to me.
Right, Layth, eat him in the taxi and off you go. Come on.
I guarantee he will eat them. I've got the receipt,
mate,
so if you
honestly,
don't like
thank-
them, I can take them
honestly,
back.
thank you.
Layth's personal assistant.
Layth's personal assistant has confirmed the taxi is here.
Oh, is it really? Right,
off
I
you
better
pop,
go.
mate.
Okay, we've got to go. Football Supporters
Christmas.
Association, Gooner Fanzine, wish us luck. Right, I'm off. I better drink this.
Oh, thank God he's going. We like to drink with Layth.
Very good.
Cheers, lads. Have fun.
See you
Cheers,
later.
happy Christmas. See you later.
Yeah.
Cheers, Jake.
We'll allow Jake to sit down.
Anyway, we can now talk north of all the place gone.
Can I just also say,
What an exit.
there's a hideously drunken Christmas reveller outside.
And it's late.
There's now blue lights flashes. They've picked him up off the pavement.
That's the Uber.
That's the Uber, yeah. So you're going in a cell
It's a
tonight,
bit
mate.
worrying because he's got my Uber account.
It's not the first time Layth's been in the back of a police.
Right, anyway, Europa League draw, I believe, is next on the
Yes,
list.
let's have a chat about the Europa League draw.
Yes.
Arsenal have got Olympiacos.
I'm not happy.
Away
I'm
day
not
to Greece,
happy.
boys.
keen.
I'm not
I'm
happy.
keen.
He's
I'm
keen.
keen.
He's not keen.
Well, you saw-
I'm
Dan,
not happy.
rant about why you're not keen.
Because literally the teams we listed were, what was it, Porto, Ajax, Bruges, there was a few others, and they all literally,
Copenhagen.
they were literally the first
Layth's
7.
back.
I've got my keys in my coat.
Is it there?
No, he's not.
What a rude
Okay,
interruption. Ends
Forgotten his keys.
You
FSU.
might have a go helping.
Get
I
out.
don't know.
Anyway, they were literally the teams we wanted, like the first 7 out, and then it got to Cluj, and I thought, here we go, this is going to be it. But Olympiacos, I suppose, is not too bad. It could be worse.
Soft as a blown. I would have
I
really
mean, I
liked
wanted
Copenhagen.
Istanbul, but I'll settle for Greece.
Can I just say something? Right,
You
I
can.
don't want to sort of self-perpetuate the Mystic Glen.
But you're going to.
myth, but I will. Last night, a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, I think you met in Liege. He met you. You probably won't
Oh,
remember.
Echo.
him. Echo,
Definitely
yeah.
not.
Oh, yeah, no,
Echo.
I know.
Okay.
But he obsesses about the draw and the potential draw and potential away trips. He had a crumpled piece of paper with a handwritten list of all the potential opposition we could get.
Is that where you get it
last
from,
night.
your notes?
And he went through them all. I said, I'll tell you now, we'll get Olympiacos.
Wow.
Today I got a text. I forgot about the draw. Got a text. He went, God's sake, we've got Olympiacos. Well, good luck with that.
No, I'm pleased with
It's not a
Olympiacos.
great draw.
Why?
Well, I think
We're
it's,
going to be
it's,
the richest people in Greece.
it's a doable game for our shoddy team.
I don't know, they'll probably still knock us out.
Layth loves a kebab,
Well, it's a bit of a cauldron. I know fans
and we
are
get
naughty boys.
to go island hopping afterwards. What more is there to ask for?
Are you paying for all of this?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes.
going to say.
Right, well, you've heard it, that's on record, you've heard it here first. Sergio's paying for the entire trip.
Yes.
Olympiacos is the kind of team like you're not really excited about them coming to the Emirates. Like,
Well, we've
it's-
not got a great record against
No.
them. It's 8
No.
games, won 4, lost 4. So let's be honest, it's going to be someone goes through on away goals.
Steak slices.
Well, he's going to a dinner, isn't he? So we won't have to stay license.
We'll have one each. Sorry, Layth, you've lost your steak slices.
Well, no, I think Olympiacos should be a good draw. I think it should be quite interesting. And also, Olympiacos obviously was where Joel Campbell was before he came back
Oh,
to
right.
Arsenal. He was on loan and he scored that wonder strike against Man United in the Europa
Right.
League 4 years ago.
Where's Joel Campbell now?
Whip out the transfer mark.
That's a very-
We've lost Joel Campbell. We'd like him back. But if
Joel.
anyone has seen Joel Campbell, please return him to this address. But I mean, I want it somewhere better. I'm not going to lie. I'm disappointed.
I really want to go to Rome or hopefully Milan. That'd be really fun.
I mean, United basically got the draw we wanted, didn't they?
Italy's
Bruges.
not much fun for travelling football fans, though.
well, I
Tell us
enjoyed
your
the San
experiences,
Siro.
Glenn. Tell us your-
Yeah. But it's just
Oh, is it Lyon?
certain other countries are more fun. Italy's a
Oh,
great
right.
place to go on holiday, but for football it's not good.
Well, the San
The
Siro.
police
is
are a
one
bit
as well.
heavy. The police are a bit heavy-handed. You get corralled around a bit. You get left in grounds 2 hours after kick-off.
Do you know what,
After the final whistle. You get stood there watching a DVD that you've got, you know.
Is it Tottenham DVD? They like the DVDs. I'd like to contrast Glen's views and experiences in Italy. I mean, when me and Layth went for the Napoli game last season in the quarter-final of the Europa League, we ended up buying a bow and arrow at 5 a.m. So I mean,
Told you it was
Italy's great. Italy's fantastic.
Yeah.
Should we talk the Liege game then? Should we talk about Saka scoring a really wonder goal?
He did, but once again, he's now playing in a fullback position that he's just
Because
not
we
used
don't
to.
have any.
But
Well,
it's
yeah, and
shocking.
also on Sunday he had to
Bit of
come
a
on,
curse,
didn't he?
innit?
It is.
Kolasinac.
Why have we got such a low sort of strength and depth? Why do we have
Do you
so
remember when we
few?
sat
I don't
here-
know. I don't know. Every team needs 2 fullbacks. Unfortunately, both our left backs are injured.
Do you remember when we sat here and we'd had our first glimpse of Tierney and how excited we got?
Oh.
Yeah.
The one proviso was he's a bit injury prone.
Here we are, weeks later.
3 months he's out for
I
now.
know.
We were saying he's the new. We were saying he was the new off.
Oh, I can't remember. I was saying he was the new Abu Dhabi,
Yes,
weren't we?
yeah.
Yeah. So much promise when he first arrives, and then career
It's a
ruined.
shame. It's a shame.
It is,
That's
yeah,
one
yeah.
He's walked into, but you know, and then
He didn't really
Kolasinac
hit the ground
yesterday.
running either.
I have to say,
What, Tierney? Oh, I don't know. I disagree with that.
I mean, he
I
didn't
thought
really
he did quite
get
well.
to get into his stride properly. He didn't really. I feel like
Well, I mean, do you remember when we were all saying, oh, wait until we get Holding and Bellerin and Tierney back and we'll be fine, and now all 3 are injured and we're rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's still not ideal, is it?
But I mean, can we fix that in January? Can we buy enough players
No.
to try and come
Well,
in?
I've been saying this, but I promise you now, not to try and be Mystic Glen myself, But we're not. We won't buy anyone in January. I'm telling you now.
No.
Raul Sanelli has been quite outspoken on how he hates the January window, and he feels like you don't get value for money. Look at Dennis Suarez. Obviously, that was Unai Emery pick, but it just shows how bad it can go. He may as well not have been there.
But things changed, Dan. I don't think they'd ever envisaged being in this position in December.
Yeah, but have they got?
I mean, needs must really,
but one of the reasons
Panic
why
buy.
they're going for Arteta is it's the cheap option to get as well. They've not got the money to spend.
Well, Thomas Ivana's available on a free transfer in January.
Oh well, there you go. We're sorted.
That's my thing. I think
Bring
this
back
squad-
Squalachi and we'll be fine.
I think this
love
squad
it.
is more than acceptable. I think at the start of the season we were saying this is a top 4 squad.
You're off your nut.
I mean,
You're mental. How much have you had to drink?
I don't think a centre-back partnership with David Luiz, Chambers, Holding, etc. is
But at the
is
start of the
Socrates
season,
good enough.
on Luiz's ability, he should be good.
Yesterday.
He was
Yeah,
shocking
fine.
yesterday.
Who was it who just sort of nonchalantly dribbled out and just went
Chambers.
To go? Yeah.
Chambers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chambers.
sorry, I just looked at that and thought,
Did you-
what? I mean, it's only because Jay Leno saw it and came. Did I say Jay Leno? Burnt Leno.
Jay Leno.
I've got to do one name of podcast I'll get wrong. Burnt Leno come herring out and closed him down. But I
Maitland
mean,
Miles.
Did you see that? You mentioned that Chambers thing? You see the video of Freddie Ljungberg's reaction to it?
No.
You seen it? Like, it was the
pure.
Honestly, so they don't show you the Chambers losing the ball, but you can see it moment for moment Freddie Ljungberg's eyes. So the point where Chambers loses the ball, his hands go on his head.
Oh, really?
His hands go on his head, and his eyes are wide open. He's just seen a ghost, the ghost of defending past.
Yeah.
And then you see Leno save it, and his hands go on his head, and he takes this big deep breath, and he just looks like he's going to cry. And I felt so sorry for him. He's having to deal with
He's
that.
been
Can you
terrible.
blame him, the defence that he played with? He played one of the best
who's he
defensive
gonna-
teams we've had. So he must be shocked to seeing the absolute depth that the Arsenal defence has fallen to since he's left.
I was surprised yesterday. He didn't even look animated, did he? He just sat on that. He sat on that bench looking like some bloke on a camping holiday was pouring down
Well, I
the
mean,
rain.
yeah.
sat in
He
his
seems
car with
really
windscreen
frustrated,
wipers.
To be
doesn't
fair,
Well, I mean, I
Looking
tweeted
out to sea.
this. So he obviously said, you know, the club needs to sort things out now, and he just like he's as I said in the videos yesterday, he's been really dignified and he's spoken of his pride at being able to lead the club. But when he spoke, it struck me as someone who just had enough. Honestly, I don't know. I just feel so sorry for him. I genuinely do.
I was going to say, the funny thing though about you saying him on the touchline, where I was sitting, I couldn't actually tell which one was Guardiola or him. All I saw was two shining bald heads.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
touchline.
It was late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Layth Yousif.
Oh, speaking of Guardiola, I mean, sort of like an unintentional criticism of us on Match of the Day too. He said, you played well today, and he went, no, we didn't.
Well, he said
we
played
played better against United.
Yeah, he said that in his
defeat.
presser. I mean, it says it all, doesn't it?
You've got to agree. He sat there, and everyone around us was saying City have not even got out of first, possibly second gear. You know, De Bruyne, one man, just cut 4 or 5 people.
Made it so easy for him, didn't we?
I know,
Just
I know.
ridiculous
I mean,
amounts of
it
space.
was unfortunate that De Bruyne decided to turn on his best performance of the season
It
so
was
far.
outstanding.
He was
Oh,
absolutely
honestly,
I tell you, what made me laugh, sorry, they put up 3 minutes, and my mate said, time for another goal.
well, do you know what? I
And
thought
20 seconds later, he fizzed that shot in that Leno tipped. I didn't realise
Yeah,
it
tipped
during
it
the
onto
game.
the post.
Tipped it
that was
onto
a brilliant
the post.
save, yeah.
God.
Do you know what?
He was brilliant,
You mentioned
yeah.
Guardiola. He was taking the piss in the second half, wasn't he? Early on,
Well,
I'm going to take off Foden. Oh, here comes Bernardo Silva. All right, it just puts out our misery. And then later, here comes Mahrez.
Taking off Gundogan for Mahrez.
Yeah, like, well, you stop kicking us when we're down.
And I think
Come on, man.
And he realised how bad Mendy was, so he took him off because Pepe was trying to get past Mendy, and he went, "Oh, put on Zinchenko."
Yeah, but I mean,
everything he did was like, "Oh, here's a better player."
Yeah.
Like his strength and depth is astonishing. Our strength and depth is non-existent.
It's what we can get from the academy at the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, bringing on ML Smith Rowe for Ozil was like, that's not really showing strength and depth. Obviously, a great player. We love him, but
he did better than Ozil did.
Yeah.
it's not hard, is it?
Do you know what it
Sorry,
reminded me of? Do you remember when we lost to United in the Champions League semi-final?
Yes.
Everyone was pumped up. It's probably the
Oh,
one of the
God.
noisiest
Why have
nights.
you got to bring up that memory?
And,
So long ago.
No, it was just I sort of like just had a little flashback when Martinelli went herring through. I thought, oh, we're right up for this.
We had a
Come on.
great 36
Within
seconds,
30
didn't we?
seconds. It was like, oh, no.
I'd hope for those 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
sat
that was
down.
our only shot on
I
target.
sat down. I was like, "Oh, this should be a great game." Oh, wait, no, it's not.
Do you know what?
This is decidedly depressing.
His name has come from the podcast before. Danny Lou, I know you're probably watching. He's a Liverpool fan, and he messaged me saying Arsenal better win today. Seconds later, De Bruyne's got the ball in the net, and I went, do you know what? I think Arsenal will turn this around. Seconds later, second goal. Honestly, he lost his mind.
Even-
He'd had enough,
Even-
and I'd had enough, and we'd all had enough.
Even my nan, who was a Liverpool supporter, was going, only time I'm hoping for your team to win, you don't let me down.
I've got similarly. I had a Liverpool mate who was watching it in the pub, and I saw him in the pub after, and he just said, it was like you bamboozled City for a while. They couldn't grasp the fact of how bad you were.
They thought it was a fake.
It was almost like some sort of master game plan that they had. You know, to trick them into this false sense of security.
We just lull them in with our terrible behaviour.
He said it was the most bizarre 45 minutes he'd ever seen. A team that just did not have a clue. You know, I don't know what to say. I'm just speechless about it, really.
I mean, because this week started so strongly with that lovely win against West Ham, then coming back from 2-0 down to draw with Liege.
It's been the most Arsenal week ever, hasn't
It really has,
yeah.
It really
Great
There's a bit of positivity, and you're like, oh no, we're back to normal.
Great win against West Ham, but I've got to say that first hour was probably one of the worst. Well, until yesterday, one of the worst 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, we were
I had
shocking
ever
in the
seen.
first half against West Ham. Absolutely shocking.
It's
And I think West Ham, we managed to somehow rally forward, and West Ham dropped off. City, we started off shocking, we continued shocking, and Man City completely took
They're
advantage
shot
of
to
it.
pieces, aren't they?
I mean, they were looking at
I
us
don't
for
know
goal
what to say anymore.
advantage. They
I
were looking
really
at us
don't.
for
I
goal
don't know.
advantage. It's madness.
But when Emery was sacked, there was an international break just before that.
Yeah.
What were Arsenal's board doing if
Well,
they
look,
weren't
you
looking at a
even-
replacement?
You
On
even
a
mentioned
yacht.
that. You even mentioned that.
Relaxing on a
They
yacht.
actually decided. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, sitting around with their thumbs up the
Well,
proverbial, weren't they?
You mentioned about how there was the international break.
They get tough management.
They actually decided to sack him before the Frankfurt game, which they obviously lost, and then he got sacked. They even had extra 48, 24 hours to decide what they wanted to do. It's ridiculous. There's
It
literally the
wasn't like
planning. Whoever's doing the planning at the club has
They-
got to be sacked. It's
they-
disgraceful.
They
It was
must
a
have been
gradual
thinking
build,
about it
wasn't
after
it?
Baku. Surely.
Probably the person
think so, yeah.
Probably the person on filling out the P45s was on holiday those weeks.
Well,
Well,
probably.
this is one thing I don't understand about Arteta. It was one of the leading contenders when Wenger left.
Mate,
They
yeah.
almost gave him the job and they didn't. So he's obviously been on their radar for 18 months. So as soon as you knew you were going to get rid of Emery, why not sound him out then?
yeah.
Why wait 2-3 weeks? It just honestly it baffles me.
honest.
The club don't seem to have any succession plans. They didn't have it when Wenger was removed from managing.
Which they should have done several years before he
Like I
left.
say,
They should have
yeah,
felt it
they've
out.
They
never
did
had to do anything.
They never thought ahead about post Wenger, which we all knew as fans that era was coming. Post
Especially
Wenger.
watching
Yeah.
United, we saw it happen at United, and we didn't learn from it.
Surely we should have learnt from Man United's mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're not going to do. We're going to make the same mistakes, but worse.
Yeah.
They could have over the 3 years before Wenger was sacked.
Can't
They
wait
could
for
have had
Louis van
someone
Gaal.
lined up. They could have been literally priming them for the Arsenal job.
It's been going on for years. They had a point where they could have just got rid of Wenger. Obviously, yeah, it would have been a bit harsh on a man who's done such great things. But there was a point when Klopp was available, and they should have just gone for it then.
You're not wrong.
There's nobody making a brave, ballsy decision in that club. There's not. It's always, we'll settle for second best, or we'll wait and see what happens, or we might be better in the future. Someone's got to step up and make a call that's brave and bold.
But we don't seem to have any. We don't seem to keep our legends in the name. Like look at Guardiola taking Arteta straight away, realising there must be something to gain from this. And
You know,
Yeah.
Arsenal used to be absolute past masters of keeping things under wraps, no one sort of knowing anything, and then unveiling. I mean, Bergkamp comes to mind. You know, Wenger, David Dean was over there sort of like working on him. That was all in place. I think, you could almost argue Bruce Ritt was installed just as an interim appointment and know exactly what they were going to do. We used to be brilliant about that. I mean, going right back to, like, Malcolm McDonald was a big signing at the time. He was huge and no one knew anything. The first time we saw it was on the back of the paper, like holding up a shirt. And now, we're just blundering around.
You look at Sol Campbell.
A superb bit of business.
I mean,
Done
literally,
during-
if you hear the stories from that day, no one saw it coming. Arsenal announced to be a press conference. I think
Yeah.
literally four or five journalists turned up expecting it to be Richard Wright.
Yeah.
And they brought out Sol Campbell.
Yeah, they were
literally
ruthless.
nobody saw it coming.
Ruthless, organised, planning, and now.
And I know
All adjectives you can't use for Arsenal anymore.
I know, Glenn, you wanted Wenger out for a long time, but I
Yes.
mean, this is the proof that having a manager long term, as well as Man United, really doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
Not in the day and age, no.
in Chelsea's cycle, as much as it's a little bit,
Yeah.
it's precarious in a way, and they have these
I
dips
agree.
and they come up again, but it has worked for them. They've kept the club fresh, and they're able to transition very quickly.
It went on too long under Wenger. We all know that.
Yeah.
There's
Also, look at what Wenger
careful
managed
what
with
you
the
wish
squad he
for,
had.
Brigade, going, oh, look what we've got now and that. But what we've got
Anyone
now,
saying Wenger should
what
have
we've got
stayed
now
on?
started under Wenger. You could see it, and it's just been a slow downward spiral.
When he won that FA Cup
That's
to
when he
end the
should- that
trophy
should have
drought,
gone.
that was I've been saying it
Well,
for
the
years.
whole
I said it
city.
at the point
Whole
against
city,
Hull.
yeah.
That was when he should have go out on a high and let
Yeah.
let someone come in and have their own ideas or whatever.
And-
Because at that point, you had a top 4. You didn't have a top 6. You had 4 teams to compete against. Now you've got 6, and then you've got teams below them like Wolves, Everton. Obviously, are struggling this season, but you've got a group of teams below who are potentially going to. Leicester, look at them now.
Yeah.
They've missed the biggest opportunity they had.
And yes,
They're never going to be
Wenger-
able to.
Yes, Wenger probably would be doing a little bit better right now, but there would be no prospects
I
to
don't
go up.
know. I don't
There
know.
would be
about
no
that.
prospects upwards. It would just be flatlining still again, and that's not where Arsenal want to be. They want to be looking upwards.
We've
They
been
wanna be
talking
looking to the
about problems with the club for so long, and I've come to the conclusion that literally everything is the problem.
Yeah.
Everything from top to bottom, whether it be decision making, player recruitment, tactics, attitude of the players, whatever, it's rotten from absolute top to bottom.
I agree.
What was your
Can't
point?
disagree.
Because I think Wenger was sort of being taken hostage by the ball towards the end. They were using him they were keeping him on for as an escape. He could escape.
So he was the focal point. of
I
the-
disagree
he
with
dug his
that.
heels
I
in a
disagree
bit,
with
mate.
that. I think Wenger in a
wanted
way,
control.
I think Wenger in a way possibly had too much power,
Yeah.
and the club looked at him and went, "This is a man who has made this club what it is at the moment.
People-
Can we get rid of him? Is it going to be morally right? Are the fans going to look at it in a good way or whatever?"
Should he have completely gone and this club was made in his image, as you said.
Well, there was the argument about moving him upstairs, and
That's
that,
what I'm
maybe
saying,
that would have
yeah.
been right at the time. But
We missed the opportunity.
he exercised too much power. But what I was going to say, which I've completely forgotten now, so carry on.
But one of the problems we've got with post-Wenger era is that because he was in control for so long, the club is entirely made in his design, style and image.
Yep.
And it's very different to what I imagine a lot of other managers coming in are used to, in terms of the structure of the board above, the sort of the director of football, the recruitment stuff like that, and the lower academy stuff. Wenger had it built the way he wanted it to, and I think it's taking a lot of time for that to be broken down and brought to a modern age. Like we're having to pull it from the 1990s
Yeah.
into 2020s.
do we know how much he was involved in choosing Emre?
Literally everything, I imagine. Was,
No,
was,
but
No, he
Oh,
wasn't.
that-
He
sorry,
wasn't
sorry.
involved in
No,
choosing
no,
Emre
no,
at all.
but
Should
in
he
the
have
entire
been
club setup.
involved in that?
No,
No, why?
because
Why
you
should
look
he?
at Man United and Sir Alex Ferguson, he
Yeah, he
basically
chose
chose
Moyes,
David
didn't he?
Moyes.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
what happened there.
Yeah.
But Ivan Gazidis has got to take so much of the flack for this.
I agree, yeah.
Absolutely, just
Wasn't like
awful
AC Milan
in
doing
so
much
many
better than
ways.
Ronaldo.
But before, like you were saying with Sol Campbell, Arsenal used to be able to get these deals through. No one, these like amazing, like hidden gems. Like they got Henry, Vieira.
Yeah, but football's so different. You had 2 top teams then, but now you've got scouts, literally
Yeah.
thousands
All
of
over.
millions all over the world.
That's what-
People are going to find
Do you
these
think that-
players.
that's what I'm trying
You
to-
look at Leicester with Kante. Like if that was the 90s, Arsenal would have found him. But now anyone can find players.
Well,
like
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
In a way, we're the victims of our own success, aren't we? Sort of Wenger revolutionised English football, and everyone
Yeah.
cottoned onto it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone's doing it
Do you
now.
think Arsenal have failed to adapt to 21st century football?
No, I think everyone else has caught up and we've declined.
Yeah, we
I
got
don't think we've
lazy
failed to
and
adapt. I think we've got
complacent.
lazy. Yeah, exactly.
What I was going to say, sorry, was Stuart Pearce, not got a lot of time for the
Psycho.
man, was on the radio this morning saying about careful what you wish for, Arsenal fans. It was, that's such a
whatever.
trite, boring line. But he was going, Arsene, he was great. He was a great recruit, and that. Well, look at some of the. We've got Xhaka there. That was a Wenger signing. We've got Mustafi there. That was a Wenger signing. A lot of it is still a hangover from.
Do you want to know the exact? I can pinpoint the
Diallo.
exact moment when things turned and things went sour.
Go on.
When David Dean left.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree with you.
yeah.
David Dean.
Well, that's why I'm really.
But our recruitment has been
Yeah.
atrocious.
Yeah,
they-
because David Dean left, and look at what happened after that. People like Squalacci and I don't know, like Denilson for example,
Keystone
just not
Park.
good enough. Yeah,
I
exactly.
was watching an interview back when Thierry Henry spoke about leaving Arsenal. He said he was worried when David Dean left about the future Arsenal
Yeah,
take, and that's what
absolutely, yeah. There you go.
Well, that's a video of its own that Arsenal worst 11.
Well, I'm sure we'll bring it at some point. But I mean, even recently, players have seen it coming. Like, yes, we're not a big fan of Sanchez because the way he acted, but he saw it coming.
Mm-hmm.
He did. You can't argue that. He knew what was going to happen, and he decided, I'm out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
You see that Nazari, Clichy, they knew they
Van
weren't going to win.
Persie.
Van Persie, Fabregas, they all knew they weren't going to win trophies at Arsenal.
That's the thing. I was thinking about this. We despise all these players that have left us.
I don't.
I can't blame. To be
No,
honest,
I mean most people despise them, but we despise them because they were brilliant and because they foresaw what was going to happen.
Fabregas gave us season after season. I think it was sort of like, you know,
He won games on his own, didn't he?
Oh, he was brilliant. I love Fabregas. But like Wenger said, give me another year. Okay, I'll give you another year. Give me one more year. Give me another year. Then he gets vilified, and then he comes back. We get first option on him, and Wenger says no.
But you can see
I've
why
got
he's
Mesut
moved
Ozil. Well,
But
that's
you
gone
can-
well.
But you can see why Van Persie left us. He was nearly. How old was Van Persie when he left us?
He was approaching 30, which was part of the
29,
reason
yeah.
why he left.
Because that's what I mean.
It was either lose him on a free or sell him to your rival. I would have rather lose him on a free,
But
to
to
be
be fair,
honest.
I can see why. I can see
Send him
why.
abroad.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Galatasaray in the end anyway.
But I
Just should have told him there
can
early.
see why Van Persie wanted to leave. He knew he wasn't going to win the Premier League, one of the greatest leagues in the world, by staying at Arsenal.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Anyway,
Well, let's move on to
Anyway,
something
on
else.
to an Arsenal great, Philip Senderos.
It's Christmas. Can we do something more positive?
Yes, Philip Senderos.
Philip Senderos
Big
has
Phil
retired.
Sendo, go
I
on.
can't believe he's still playing.
Did you see the little montage he put on Twitter? It's quite weird.
But did you notice this? Did you notice this? So he put out like, for all the teammates I've played with, for all the teams I've played for, all the opposition I played against. So we had Messi, Ronaldo, and the original Ronaldo. He didn't mention all the bang average players he got just completely mugged off by.
Drogba.
Drogba ruined his career. But the one thing I would say about Senderos is, and he was dreadful. We can all agree he was dreadful. But that Champions League run in 2006, he was immense.
Yeah, it's
that
true.
defence.
With the last great Arsenal defence. Abue, I say the last great Arsenal defence, yeah,
But
come
it was
on.
Abue, Senderos, who else did we have in there?
Sol
Flamini?
Campbell was in there.
Flamini.
Flamini played left back because
Flamini
Ashley
and
Cole
Sol
was
Campbell.
injured.
That's what I mean for many
That back four.
They were immense. They've got the
incredible,
record
but-
for the most consecutive clean
But,
sheets.
you know, Senderos and Abue.
Yeah.
And Flamini at left back, honestly.
I love Flamini. Don't put a bad word on his name.
As
they
you
played
say,
Ashley Cole, we lost.
I'm just surprised Senderos was still playing.
Where was he playing?
That's what I was shocked.
Sevre in Switzerland, which was
He's
his
all right.
first club before
He
he...
speaks 5 languages and got various degrees and that. And I think he's an all right bloke, Senderos.
Good luck to him in whatever he does next.
Who else did he play for?
Villa.
AC Milan,
Do you reckon
Valencia...
he'll come to the Arsenal
Rangers
board
got
then?
Rangers,
Rangers
yeah.
got
Well,
sent off.
you mentioned this. I did see a tweet of someone saying Arteta Senderos masterclass incoming.
Tell you what, though, he cared.
But
He did care.
I think he played a few games for Rangers, got sent off in the old firm and never got seen again.
Oh, really? Wow.
I'm not exactly sure. Someone
Mate,
wants to fact check.
I think
me.
we do worse for defensive coach than centre. Our defence is so bad at the
I'd
moment.
rather have him than David Luiz, I'm not going to lie.
Arsenal finally
Oh,
bend and bring in some star for Ljungberg. Senderos.
And Jura's on his way.
I read my
Squillaci,
nan's got a dodgy knee. and
Terry
some things.
Mancini for the old guys.
Abby Diaby's back from injury, ready to play for the Arsenal, season 17.
You wanted to talk about the women as well, because that is one positive light.
Yeah,
on
that's what
Arsenal.
I'm saying.
That's a positive light.
They're the only decent team that we've got to celebrate in a minute, to be
Well, the
fair.
top of the league.
Yeah.
Top of the
They're
league,
smashing
3 points
it.
clear.
They're fantastic.
Got a brilliant. I think we should go watch them more.
Did you see that goal they scored? Was it the other week? It was
Against
it was-
Reading.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like
Oh,
a
it
Jack
was
Wilshere
incredible.
goal,
It was
wasn't
incredible.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
better than a Jack Wilshere
Well,
goal.
yesterday he started off so
it's
well
tight.
with the women beating Everton
I know.
2-1, and then suddenly we go and watch us lose 3-0 to City. I was like, should have bought the women's season tickets. Only 35
That's what I
quid.
was thinking as well. But not being funny, we were doing a team of this year between Arsenal men and women. I think the Arsenal starting the
Need them all straight in there.
Can I just say, when is someone going to listen about Joe Montemuro, I'll keep banging on about
We've got
it
your
over and
dossier.
over and over
Your
again.
dossier's in my read
Until
pile.
someone listens,
I will
I'll keep
read. I
going.
will read it. It's on my to-read list behind the book. that I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah,
mention.
follow up to your trip. I went
Behind
out
the
for lunch
dictionary.
with my auntie and my 2 cousins. I got a young girl, and they took her to. They're all Gooners, obviously.
yeah, of course,
But,
That's what we like to hear.
my little, what would she be? So my cousin's daughter, second cousin, yeah.
Yeah.
Vivi.
First
She's
cousin
about
was
4,
removed.
but they took her to the Spurs Arsenal
She's
ladies
about
game.
4.
That
You
was-
should probably know that. She's about 4.
Took her to that, and she had a great time. So that was
Well,
was
every
the
game
first
seems to be a good
official,
time.
I was
official
at the-
Arsenal outing. But,
I was
yeah,
at the
great
game.
day.
I loved it. It was much better atmosphere than the men, to be perfectly honest with
Well,
you.
let's put it this way: in their past 6 games,
'cause
they've
there were
scored.
people in the ground,
They've
Joe.
scored 34 goals in 6 games,
Yeah.
and in their past 2 home games, they've got 20 goals.
How many have we conceded in the last 6 games?
I don't know, like, do you think
4
Do
million.
you think we could ask Leah Williamson? She could play 2 games a week.
Well, that
Should
would
do
be-
better than David Luiz. Yes, I hate David Luiz. If you haven't already
Still
established.
despises David Luiz.
Honestly,
Jordan
do
Nobbs
you know what?
should be good at transitions in the middle as well.
Yeah.
That's one thing we're missing.
That's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
Serge's recent.
Oh yeah.
Glenn's notes first. Glenn's notes will
Well, this-
go into any kind of presents.
Alright.
Well, we were going to
Glenn?
talk about the Adidas.
Oh,
kit.
Or the bruised banana.
Do you know what? I hate
No,
that. I hate that more than David Luiz.
I
Yeah,
really
it
like the
costs
video. Ainsley Maitland-Niles
Just
is apparently the coolest guy in the
75
world.
75
Shame you
quid.
can't bloody defend.
I know,
It's Maitland Miles.
I know you're going to hate me. I was waiting in line for that shirt.
75
you know,
quid.
Were you actually?
You've
Yeah.
got money to burn, mate.
What can we do? We're in crisis. I'll tell you what, bring out another kit at Christmas.
75 quid. To be fair, it is completely and utterly sold out everywhere.
Yeah. Have you seen how much it's on eBay?
Sell it and they will come.
How much is it on eBay?
250 quid.
Oh my.
Oh wow.
I missed the trick.
I'd rather have your season ticket hat.
Yeah.
Wait, 200, you can get those in classic football shirts for less than that.
That's what I mean.
The original, the proper one.
Yeah, they're the original.
Yeah.
But I know it's funny. You're going to get some idiots going to go out and spend their family's Christmas money on that shirt.
Did you have the original, Glenn?
What do you mean looking at me?
Hey,
Did you have the original?
Go on, Serge, expand on that.
the
What are
only
you trying to
kit I've ever
say?
had was the about 1971.
Not Kit Bryant?
No, not
You didn't buy the 79.
You didn't.
To be fair,
when I started going to football, you didn't wear kits, mate. So
Oh,
it's
really?
It was like,
Scarfs and the
it
clappers.
was like saying, please stab me.
Well, to be fair, I don't.
Anyway, can we go into Glenn's notes? I'll
Yeah,
wait all
I'll
week
go-
for them,
okay,
and I've been
right.
waiting 2 weeks now.
Time for
Yeah.
Glenn's
I
notes.
will. I must admit,
Our last podcast was on a cold
where I
car.
work, where I work's got their own charity shop. I did pick this up this morning. I meant to put it on for Layth.
I love it.
I will read my notes. and
Where's
that's-
Wally?
This is
Wow.
about as much mirth and Christmas spirit as you get.
That's a Dr. Seuss hat.
Was it a Doctor? All right, Dr. Sood.
Look at it! What is all of this?
That is huge.
It won't take long. Right, that is my
I felt left out when I
contribution
had.
to Christmas.
Yeah, we got to think the hat.
Glenn, I thought you didn't have many notes. That's
I know, it's
5
just- no,
pages.
That's other stuff.
God,
there.
that's a dossier.
So, yeah,
He's typed
do
it out again.
Right, no, I did.
Glenn, what decides whether you write it out or type it out?
It's how much of a lunch hour I get. Okay. What?
You've gone into so much depth on that.
Oh
That's
yeah, that
impressive.
was actually factual stuff
The
about
dead
Ozil.
air
quite
of Glenn
impressive.
looking at his notes is
Right,
just
okay,
so
one thing I
iconic.
liked, this is actually a like note, both the Leicester and Norwich fans singing It's Not Football Anymore in unison on Saturday after another shoddy VAR decision.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. And the I hate this hat. The pundits and the pundits and the commentators were both commenting on that. Sort of like, it's now sort of like inveigling commentaries where they go, I don't get VAR either, and that.
Oh, it's
so
nonsense now.
I will bang on about this every week.
I'm up for it, mate.
Oh yeah, this annoyed me. 2 hours Amazon delivery special on Christmas jumpers. You know, so some poor bugger in a van driving around on some 0 hour contract.
Delivering.
Nailed it.
jumper.
Nailed
Delivering a jumper because some knob in the city goes, I must have a Christmas jumper
And then
now.
you end up with Toby's jumper. It's not
Yeah,
even long enough for his
I know.
arms. Look at you. It's
Yeah,
like
Toby
you're
bought that when he was 12.
As I was saying, it's muscle fit.
What else? Oh yeah, this-
Where's the muscles?
on your wrist.
I mean, I'm not one to talk, but where are the muscles?
I've also got, this annoys me, it's a modern phenomenon. Somebody else said it during a game the other day. It's injury time or at best added time, not extra time.
Yeah,
Extra time happens in a cup competition. It just
Yes.
really
Yes.
annoys me.
Yes.
Like people go, how much extra time do they put on? Don't put on any because we're not in a cup competition.
Do you know what? Do you know what he's going to be on next week? He's going to be on sequential squad numbers. It's how the holding midfielder should always.
that
no,
angers
no,
me.
let's do that now.
No, we'll be here for days.
No,
Yeah.
we're going to do it. We're going to be here all
Let me
night.
finish my notes.
No.
all right?
Let him finish his notes. Go on.
Big props to Ben Stokes because he
Yeah.
gave me two of the most memorable sporting occasions over the summer. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
And
This
what
is
I
no
wanna-
longer an Arsenal
He's a
podcast.
Spurs fan.
Well, I
though,
wanted
so.
to finish.
Oh well then.
I was racking my brain. Do you know there was an old Liam Brady song to the, Noel? Do you remember that? Noel. It used to be Brady, born is the king of Ivory. I didn't have time. I was going to try and make up some sort of like alternative Christmas carols. The only one I could come up with was the only one I could come.
Yes, please.
I could only come up with one line. And I was racking my brain. I got 5 gold bricks. But Eddie Goldrick.
Please, wait. It's going to happen in the edit. That is a zoom in right there.
Okay. But the one I thought was not bad was Fring Pong Merrily on High.
Yes.
And that's it. Not too many gripes because it's the festive season and we've all got to be happy. haven't
Grumpy Glen is cheery.
we?
Yeah.
I know, so it's up to your Secret Santa.
Well, now this is my Secret Santa from, I believe, Layth. As you can
This
tell
is
by
gonna- this
how
is
good
gonna
the
be-
wrapping is.
So
Terrible.
what happened is Dan forgot to buy one. Mine didn't turn up.
No one told me.
Yeah.
No one
you weren't here when we did
Yeah.
it.
I didn't buy one. Yours didn't turn up.
Rosie didn't come.
Rosie isn't here, but Rosie, we are thinking of you, my friend.
He gave me his. He gave me his. I've already got 2 2 copies.
That
Drink
Hang on a
yourself,
minute.
mate.
Whoa. Aren't
And-
those the
and-
socks he got for free?
No, these are
Yeah.
another pair of socks he got me because I said I liked him so much.
As if he got you his own book. Layth.
I have to
Layth,
say,
you're a
That is the
disgrace.
most Layth thing that's ever happened. Ever.
what would you prefer? I know what I'm going for.
Thank you very much.
And he's destroyed my
He's
Uber
got
waiting
1,000
tonight.
more of them at home.
That is
Oh
the
my
most
God.
Layth thing I've ever had. Well,
How many do you reckon he's got?
Arsene Wenger, 50 defining fixtures in stores, any good
Yeah.
bookshop.
Or where the charity shops bargain
It's,
bin.
to be
Available
fair,
in
check
all
it
good
on Amazon. It's got 2 stars. Shocking read.
available
Sorry,
in
Layth.
every good Woolworths and JJB Sports. And obviously, I did actually ask him to get me these socks. I'm quite happy about that.
Right, is that it?
Wow.
That's it. Well,
Amazing.
What a podcast.
What a podcast.
What a podcast.
Yeah, a bit
The
rambling.
Christmas
meandering.
edition is
I
done.
know.
But don't forget, we'll have an extra special video this week
Exactly.
of the quiz.
Oh,
So
right.
I just put together a quiz.
And it's up for grabs. Don't forget it's up for
And
grabs.
up for
And
grabs.
up for grabs. If you haven't seen, Serge and Dan, the
Your
partnership,
favourite comedy duo.
Your favourite comedy duo have
Yes.
started a video series. I think we're on our 5th or 6th now. We're going to film the
Fifth.
6th tonight.
Of course we are.
And yeah, up for
Good
grabs. Give it a watch. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
New
Bar
manager.
humbug.
Remembered.
New manager.
Mary
Sean.
Frimpong. I can't believe
We
he gave
all
me
love
a copy of
steak
his
bakes.
book.
We all love steak bakes.
Those classic loads. I love it.
I can't believe you got his own book.
I've already got.
You're a shambles.
I've already got 2 copies. Right, let's get this going into the glass.
You've already got 2 copies.
Yeah, from the other company. He gave me one for Christmas before.